Thanks for joining us. The time is now 7 a.m. I'm Phoebe Murray. You're watching a special edition of 15 News Plus, examining the history of pride in the Badger State, the struggles of the LGBTQ plus community, what they're facing, what work is being done within our communities, and what comes next. 15 News Plus starts now.
Connected to you on all devices and wherever you stream. This is Wmtv 15 News Plus.
We begin with a look back through history. Wisconsin playing a key role here in gay rights. Going back to February 25, 1982, Republican Governor Lee Dreyfus signed the first anti-discrimination law, specifically making it illegal for housing or employers to discriminate based on sexual orientation. The Milwaukee Public Library says it wasn't until more than 9 years later until another state signed similar legislation. Democratic State Assembly member Lloyd Barbie was the first legislator to start introducing these kinds of bills in 1967 before passing them on to Representative David Callenbach after retiring. And we went back into our archives. Check out this video. This is from a pride event here in Madison in 1989. This is the year a new group, Gay and Lesbian Visibility Alliance, or Galvanize, held their first major march for gay rights on, again, May 6th, 1989. According to organizers of Madison's Pride, this march, then another march nearly 3 years later in 1991, was a success. What is going to play next is part of an interview with someone at the parade, and because of our archive system, we don't know who this person exactly is, but we have reached out to the Wisconsin LGBTQ History Project to try and find out.
The purpose of today's event is to have a massive visible coming out of gay and lesbian and bisexuals and their supporters to show Madison that we're here and that we are a major force in this community and that we bring a great deal of enthusiasm and energy and pride to this community, and that we expect from the community that same enthusiasm and pride for us.
Also in 1989, the Lesbian Alliance of Metro Milwaukee and parents, families, and friends of lesbians and gays formed. One of Madison's large pride events is coming up on August 18th. The Outreach LGBTQ plus, Community Center will host their 6th Magic Pride Festival at Warner Park. And there's actually an exhibit that puts Wisconsin's LGBTQ history on display. The We Will Always Be Here, Wisconsin's LGBTQ plus history makers, highlights some of the Badger State's own trailblazers. It's a graphic comic style, and some people from our area who you'll see in this exhibit: Judy Greenspan, Richard Dick Wagner, Ted Pierce, along many other important figures. And right now it's on display in Door County at the Ephraim Historical Foundation, but it will also be in Mineral Point at Pendarvis from July 20th through August 4th. Our Mackenzie Davis recently went to the historic site that has been preserved for nearly 200 years and shows us the piece of LGBTQ history in the Driftless region.
We have here at Pendarvis a story that nobody else in the country can tell.
A story that's unique to Mineral Point and Wisconsin.
And a really special story that I think a lot of people connect with.
Pendarvis is one of the historic sites owned by the Wisconsin Historical Society. And this summer, Pendarvis Historic Site is offering behind-the-scenes tours of the 20th century restoration story with focuses on partners Bob Neal and Edgar Hellum.
And they started a preservation movement here in Mineral Point that spread across Wisconsin, restoring all these Cornish miners' homes.
Bethany Brander is the Pendarvis site manager, and she says when visitors come, they can expect to hear nearly 200 years of history covering lead mining, Wisconsin gay history, the history of the restoration at Pendarvis, along with beautiful gardens and walkways throughout the 12 buildings on the property.
So it's a really unique and special place, and really feels like you've gone out of the country when you come to Mineral Point.
The unique story behind it all, Bob and Edgar.
They were together starting in 1934 when they met. Bob was from here in Mineral Point, and Edgar was from Stoughton, Wisconsin. They were introduced, they fell in love, they decided to buy a home together and fix it up, and that led to them building several more buildings all over what became Pendarvis Historic Site and throughout Mineral Point.
When the two met in 1934, having a gay relationship was not something that was widely accepted like it is today.
They were certainly not open with it.
Only a circle of friends and family knew they were in a relationship. They decided to open a Cornish restaurant to fund this restoration, which you can visit on the tour. Bob would be the host for the restaurant, and Edgar would handle all of the outdoor and gardening duties.
They made this really great partnership this way.
Now their story is told on the tour.
It's really important to tell these stories that weren't being told before, not just here, but across the country.
That was our Mackenzie Davis reporting, and you can find the dates of these upcoming tours and how to buy tickets at WMTV15news.com. That story is airing as part of a series on WMTV 15 News to celebrate diversity, the people and organizations who shape our community, make it vibrant, and those who demonstrate inclusiveness. If you have a story idea or someone we should know about, go to our news app or website and click on Submit a Story Idea. In Madison, you can see Wisconsin women veterans history on display at the Wisconsin Veterans Museum. The In Her Boots display brings awareness to the struggles women veterans have faced in the past and continue to face.
Boots are decorated to raise awareness to the issues that many service members had during their time of service. Some of those may have been before the Don't Ask, Don't Tell. You can see that they are maybe members of the LGBTQ plus community, and that the colors may be represented on their boots and designs. Some of them may be dark in color, just for issues that or experiences that they may have.
A recent survey found LGBTQ plus veterans often have more difficulties accessing health care and report higher levels of depression, with advocates saying this is an issue that needs to change urgently. Still to come on this special edition of 15 News Plus, highlighting important figures in the state's history, what challenges the LGBTQ plus community faces, and what's next. So when we return, how anti-LGBTQ plus politics is playing a role in already high rates of mental health challenges among youth. Plus, this month marks 9 years of gay marriage in the United States. We will check in with the first same-sex couple to say I do in Dane County. Welcome back. Limited edition terrace chairs are popping up at Murrow Union this weekend to celebrate the end of Pride Month. Mackenzie Davis joins us live. And Mackenzie, these chairs have gone out for a few years now, but tell us about the new ones that are out there this year.
Yeah, good morning, Phoebe. This marks the 4th year that they are doing this here at the Memorial Union Terrace. You normally see the orange, yellow, and green sunburst chairs here at the terrace, but they have added purple, red, black, brown, blue, pink, and white. But as you mentioned, new this year, we have black, brown, pink, and white, just bringing in more inclusivity and diversity here on the UW-Madison campus, as well as in the Madison community as a whole. So tomorrow, Saturday, you can come out here to the terrace to not only take pictures with these chairs, sit in them, but also have some conversations with people. Whether you're a part of the LGBTQ plus community or not, you can come out. There will be lots going on here at the terrace. I think it'll be a beautiful day as well. So come out and enjoy it as Pride Month wraps up. But to continue these conversations on throughout the month of June, year round is so important as well. But yeah, 12:30 to 2:30 tomorrow here at the terrace will be the place to be. You can come. This is the only time you're going to be able to see these chairs. So they are very limited editions, so you will not want to miss it, Phoebe.
Mackenzie, thank you so much. What a cool event that they're putting on. So it's now been 9 years since a Supreme Court decision legalized same-sex marriages across the country, and nearly 10 years since Wisconsin recognized the right. Our state capitol bureau chief reporter Vanessa Kelson tells us what the future holds.
You are a married couple. Congratulations.
The first same-sex couple married in Dane County.
We never thought that we were going to be the first.
Celebrated their 10th wedding anniversary this month.
This marriage has been incredible.
The couple tied the knot here on the steps of the city-county building after a federal judge struck down Wisconsin's ban on same-sex marriages. Now, the nation is celebrating 9 years of the Obergefell v. Hodges decision, allowing same-sex marriage in every state.
It was a day I was never sure that I would actually see.
Tiffany Moeller, the first openly gay state official in Kansas and president of End Citizens United, joined the celebration in Madison Wednesday.
When people come together and when we fight for justice, we can win these fights.
Senator Tammy Baldwin, the first openly gay U.S. senator, says the anniversary is a testament to progress.
June 26th. That should maybe be a federal holiday.
As Pride Month comes to a close, the happy couple says the fight for equality doesn't end there.
Just because we're acknowledged for a month doesn't mean we can't keep celebrating.
Finding pride in progress. From Madison, Vanessa Kelson.
Vanessa, thank you. The Supreme Court has just agreed to hear a different case with major implications for LGBTQ youth if states can restrict gender-affirming care for youth. The Biden administration is challenging a transgender care base in Tennessee, which was put in place last year. The law bans hormone therapy and puberty blockers for minors and penalizes doctors who violate the law. The Human Rights Campaign reports nearly half of the states have bans on this kind of care. Wisconsin is not one of those. Back in December, Governor Tony Evers banned a bill that would have done so. The case will be heard in the fall. A recent report shows anti-LGBTQ plus politics is playing a role in already high rates of mental health challenges among youth in the community. This heightened as many have a hard time getting care. According to a recent report from the Trevor Project, 39% of LGBTQ plus young people overall seriously considered taking their own life in the past year. When looking at transgender and non-binary young people, that number jumps to 46%. Overall, youth of color report higher rates. So just to break down those numbers a little bit more, 10% of young white people tried to take their own lives. Compare that to 24% of young indigenous people. Now 16% of young multiracial people, and then 14% of young black people. Overall, it comes out to about 1 in 10 LGBTQ plus youth. Half of those who wanted mental health care were not able to get it. A similar trend is seen with adults. According to data from the nonprofit KFF, most LGBTQ plus adults say they experience discrimination and are more likely to report being always or often anxious, depressed, or lonely. These numbers come from 988's LGBTQ plus service. Most LGBTQ adults say they have faced discrimination recently, and those experiences can play a role in mental health. The line was launched in September of 2022. It connects adults to specific LGBTQ plus operators. But in the case someone specific is not available, the call goes back to the main 988 lines. Across all adults, many did not know about the specific line for LGBTQ plus adults. And remember, if you or someone you love is having a hard time, help is available 24/7 by texting or calling 988. You can call or text this number at all hours of the day and night. For the LGBTQ plus line, you will press 3 after dialing 988. If you are calling or if you're texting, send the word PRIDE to 988. And according to 988, using someone's correct name and pronouns can reduce suicidal behaviors by over 60%. Still to come here on this very special edition of 15 News Plus on Wisconsin Pride, when we return, caught on camera, the moments someone steals a pride flag from a Wisconsin home. We'll hear from neighbors who see this as an attack during a month meant for celebrations. Plus, checking out access to books, how a Madison-based nonprofit is getting books to incarcerated people and the challenges LGBT books to prisons is facing. A caught on camera moment, his family's in Kewaunee County unsettled, has families unsettled, excuse me. Check it out here, Ring doorbell camera. Showing the moments a stranger ripped a pride flag from a Bayview home about a week ago. Pride flags and signs are displayed up and down this street. Kate and Andy say that as extra precautions, they've been putting zip ties on their flags, adding acts like these are extremely frustrating.
We're a part of a marginalized community, and like June, the month of Pride, is supposed to be really celebratory and uplifting people and celebrating us, and that's just, yeah, that was really hard to hear that that happened during the month of June especially.
Now, the person who had their flag stolen has ordered a new one, we have confirmed, and has many flags up in place while he waits. A recent report shows there's a struggle getting books into prisons for people to read, and a Madison-based nonprofit is sending books to people held in prisons across the country, specifically books to LGBTQ+ incarcerated people. The report Reading Between the Bars. Recently, they found the main reasons prison officials censor or ban certain books is because of sexual content or security. Another reason books can be kept out is based on where they come from. So most prisons have an approved list of who can send in books. That means friends, families, or church groups often cannot send those books in. And according to LGBT Books to Prisoners in Madison,
a lot of the restrictions that are in place are pretty arbitrary and subjective based on the prison staff that are making those decisions. And we are often on the other end of that trying to decide, will this get through? Is this a crapshoot?
So Corey Sprinkle is a co-organizer with LGBT Books for Prisoners. The Madison-based group of volunteers sends books to LGBTQ+ people in prisons across the nation. The group started in 2007. However, prior to that, the project was a part of Wisconsin Books for Prisoners before branching out. And the group sends books directly to people, as I mentioned, not to prison libraries. The group is volunteer run and donation funded. They've sent at least 27,000 packages in the last 15 years, which is roughly 70,000 books, and they've sent out nearly 800 books this year. But sometimes the books that the group sends out, they end up back in their own inbox, often with no explanation as to why that book was denied.
Sometimes we just don't even know if they get to the person. We might hear it when an inmate sends us a letter later on that the books that we thought got there successfully actually never got into their hands. And so that's very challenging. I think that's the data that we don't always have is what is our actual success rate? And we can send 770 packages so far this year, but have all those packages gotten to the hands of the folks who need those books?
Sprinkle says the group often deals with more restrictions surrounding books featuring sexuality, which can create fewer options as more LGBTQ+ youth and adults are held in prisons at higher rates. That's according to the Sentencing Project. They found 33% of women in prison identify as lesbian, gay, or bisexual, and 5.5% of men in prison identify as LGBTQ+ as well. That is compared to 7.6 and 6.6 in the general population. The report points to higher rates of poverty, homelessness, and violence against LGBTQ people. 16% of all trans people have been incarcerated. That's according to the National Center for Transgender Equality. The group says they are always in need of donations or new or used books. They have a wish list of books up on their website. They also partner with a Room of One's Own bookstore in Madison. So if you want to take part, you can find more information up on their website. Again, you are watching a special edition of 15 News Plus highlighting Pride Month in Wisconsin. And when we return, running the bases with Badgerland Pride Softball live in the Wmtv studio. We will be right back after this break. While Pride Month is almost over, there are still some events that you can get involved with. Today is actually the last week UW-Madison Gender and Sexuality Campus Center is holding a Pride media screening. The showing is at 1 this afternoon in the Red Gym. Today they'll be showing Framing Agnes, which is a documentary that features a group of trans people's lives from the 1950s. Fun fact, Angelica Ross, who is in the film, is from Kenosha. Tonight is also Beers with Queers at Breeze Stevens Field. It's an outdoor stand-up comedy show. How cool is this? Featuring all queer comedians. So doors open at 9 tonight with the show starting at 9:30. Tickets are just $20 at the gate, $5 cash with a student ID. And the event is recommended for those 18 years and older. Or you could celebrate at the duck pond. The Madison Mallards will wear these special jerseys for tonight's game against the Green Bay Rockers. And after the game, the jerseys will be auctioned off with money going to LGBTQ+ outreach in Madison. You'll also get a free mini pride flag, plus there are post-game fireworks tonight. First pitch is at 6:35, and closer to home, Madison has a number of LGBTQ+ sporting leagues, from men's hockey and volleyball to rugby and softball, which brings us to our very special live guests this morning, Evelyn and James. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, thank you for having us. We're so glad to be here.
Yeah, me as well. Okay, Evelyn, I'll start with you. Tell me a little bit about celebrating 20 years of the Badgerland Pride softball, what that milestone means to you and your players.
Well, I think we've just seen a lot of growth over the past 20 years and so many changes in the community and the landscape in which athleticism and pride and the ability to, play softball and grow community intersects. I would say after so many years of play, we're really just seeing an increase in the amount of people that are interested in joining us, and an increase in diversity amongst our players, and we're hoping to continue to grow that. And
that's wonderful to hear. James, so just this year the league went from Badgerland softball to Badgerland Pride softball. Why that name change now?
Yeah, it was very important for us to promote and highlight the fact that we are an LGBTQ affirming league and that we accept everyone. We want to create that safe and supportive space where people can feel comfortable being themselves. And it just happens to center around the sport of softball. And so we're really excited about that. But it's really important to us that we highlight that and that we put that forward. And so we made that change this last year to move from Badgerland softball to Badgerland Pride softball. And
in that same vein, in your eyes, why is this league so necessary within our community?
Yeah, I mean, we had very humble beginnings at the early 2000s, where we started with just one team within, MSCR, and we've just really grown from that. But it came from a place of needing to feel safe and secure, being yourself. For a lot of people that we play with, it was very intimidating for them to join us because of a past bad experience in school or, in their life where they didn't necessarily feel comfortable. And we want to make sure that people feel comfortable and safe.
Evelyn, as far as speaking to the broader community here in Madison, what is kind of the community like with, you have rugby, you have hockey, you have all of these different inclusive sports. What does that kind of look like?
I would say there's definitely a lot of crossover and kind of growing in, sharing of resources and reaching out to each other. I think all of the, queer sports in Madison are really just going towards that same goal of just creating these safe spaces that just aren't available for people who want to participate in sports everywhere. So I think just trying to build up that community and be in touch with each other, because we're all here to kind of promote that same end goal.
And very quickly, you guys have a tournament coming up over the 4th weekend. Tell me about that. How can people participate?
Yes, July 5th, 6th, and 7th is our Badgerland Classic Pride softball tournament in Fitchburg, Wisconsin at McGaw Park. If people want to come down and support, we'll be having teams, queer leagues and teams coming in from multiple states and cities in the surrounding area, Iowa, Minnesota, awesome. Milwaukee. So if anyone wants to come down, they're more than welcome to.
Thank you both so much for being here. I really appreciate it. This has been a really cool opportunity and an incredible special episode of 15 News Plus. So thank you so much for joining us here on this Friday. Have a great rest of your weekend.
At WMTV, 15 News to your Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, or Google TV today. And never miss a moment of 15 News Plus.